Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty cool, how a single piece of gear, just one stop box, can really change everything for a musician's sound. We see it shape genres, open up new ways to create, and today, we're diving deep into the TC Electronic Flashback delay. Yeah, our mission here is to figure out how this pretty small pedal became such a huge deal for guitarists, for producers, everywhere really, packing studio effects into this tiny box. And here's the thing that gets me right away. How did a digital pedal launched back in, 2011? How did it manage to compete with the big names already out there and actually influence how people play?
That's a great question. And, the flashback delay, it wasn't just another pedal hitting the market. It really felt like a shift. Suddenly, high-quality, versatile effects were way more accessible. It came out in 2011, part of TC's Compact series. And the idea, which was brilliant, was to take these amazing algorithms from their big, expensive rack units,
Yeah.
like the famous 2290 delay.
Oh yeah, the legendary 2290.
Exactly, and somehow cram them into a standard stomp box. And right from the get-go, it had killer digital delays, that tone print thing we'll get into, stereo in and out, all in this small, tough, and pretty affordable box. That mix was, well, it changed things.
Okay, let's unpack that. Studio Great Effects digital pedal.
Right.
What was actually going on inside? What made it special? I know it was digital DSP based,
Yeah.
but wasn't there something specific about the signal path too?
Absolutely. You're right. The core was DSP, digital signal processing. That's how they got all those different sounds, that high fidelity. But crucially, they included analog drive-through.
Ah, right. Explain that.
So your original guitar signal, it never touches the digital stuff, stays completely analog, which means zero latency on your core tone. And it keeps that tone really pure. Tone purists love that. And the versatility. Wow. It had 11 different delay modes built right in, a whole palette of sounds.
11. Okay, that is a lot to choose from. Which ones really jumped out? Like the ones that made the biggest splash or were just really clever?
Well, having that variety was key, definitely. But yeah, some really stood out. You had the 2290 mode, obviously. That was the clean, crisp, studio digital delay straight from their famous rack unit. Pro sound and a pedal. Then for players wanting something warmer, more vintage, the analog mode did a great job mimicking those old Bucket Brigade delays. The way the repeats get darker and sort of melt away.
Yeah, that lovely gooey sound.
Exactly. And the tape mode captured that classic tape echo vibe, the warmth, the bit of that warble, the saturation on the repeats, perfect for rockabilly, psychedelic stuff. And if you wanted things lush and atmospheric, the modulated mode was fantastic. It added chorus to the repeats, creating these swirling textures, made leads sound huge.
Okay, I can hear that. What else?
Ping pong delay, essential for stereo setups. It bounces the delays left and right, creates this really wide, immersive soundscape.
Right, fills the space.
Totally. And then reverse. Always a favorite for weird, trippy sounds, Backwards delay effects for textures. Super popular in certain genres.
Like post-rock and ambient stuff.
Definitely. But they also had some really smart modes, like dynamic delay, sometimes called a ducking delay.
Ducking? How does that work?
It's clever. The echoes get quieter while you're playing, so your main notes cut through clearly. Then, when you stop playing, the echoes swell back up. Great for keeping mixes clean.
Huh. That is smart. Keeps things from getting muddy.
Exactly. And let's not forget the built-in looper, 40 seconds. That turned it into more than just a delay. It was a creative tool, a practice tool.
Right, so it had all these great core sounds. But you mentioned something earlier. This is where it gets really interesting for me. What were the truly innovative things? The features that made people go, wow, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, this is where TC really pushed things. The absolute standout, the game changer, was tone print technology.
Okay, tone print. Explain that magic.
It was like magic. Basically, famous guitarists or TC's own sound designers could create totally custom presets, deep edits, tweaking parameters you couldn't even reach on the pedal's knobs. And then you could load these tone prints into your pedal. Either beam them wirelessly from your smartphone using your guitar's pickup.
Wait, beam them with sound?
Yeah, you'd hold your phone to the pickup, it would play this weird modem-like sound, and boom, the pedal had that new custom sound. Or you could load them via USB.
That's wild. So you got access to artist sounds without needing a complicated interface.
Precisely. Deep customization, but super easy to use. It was brilliant and unique at the time. Then there was the stereo I/O. Stereo inputs and outputs. Not totally new, but having it on a compact, affordable digital delay like this was huge.
Why was that so important?
Well, for styles like worship music, ambient music, Creating those huge, wide, immersive soundscapes was becoming really popular. Stereo delays are key for that. The flashback made it accessible.
Gotcha. So it opened doors for certain genres.
Absolutely. And one more clever bit, tap tempo, but without needing an extra foot switch, which eats up pedal board space.
How'd they manage that?
They called it audio tapping. You just held down the main foot switch, strummed your guitar in time, and the pedal set the delay tempo. Really smart design.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty neat. Saves space, keeps it simple.
Exactly. So you add all that up, the core sounds, tone print, stereo, smart tap tempo, small size, good price. You can see why it took off.
Definitely. So TC Electronic obviously had a hit on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Did they just sit back, or did they keep pushing it forward? How did the Flashback evolve after that first one in 2011?
Oh, they didn't sit still at all. They listened to players, saw what people wanted next. So in 2012, just a year later, came the Flashback X4.
The bigger one, right?
Yeah, the bigger footprint. It was aimed more at serious stage use. It had 3 dedicated preset foot switches, so you could switch between different delay sounds instantly. And crucially, a separate dedicated tap tempo switch.
More control for live playing.
Exactly. Plus, it beefed up the looper 40 seconds in stereo, or 80 seconds in mono. It was like a delay and a powerful loop station combined.
Then what? They went smaller.
They did. In 2013, they released the Flashback Mini. Tiny little thing. Realized not everyone needed the X4's features, or maybe just had 0 space left on their pedal board.
Right, the mini pedal craze was starting then too.
It was. So the Mini just had the core Flashback sound quality, one knob, but you could load any tone print into it. Super simple, super small, still sounded great. Showed they understood different players' needs.
Okay, so bigger than smaller.
Yeah.
What was the next major step?
That came in 2017 with the Flashback 2. This was a really significant update. The big headline feature was M-H.
M-Ash, what's that?
Think of the foot switch, the button you step on. But instead of just being on or off, it was pressure sensitive.
Like an expression pedal almost.
Exactly. The harder you press down on the MSH switch, the more it would change a specific effect parameter, maybe increase the delay feedback for swells, or warp the pitch, or add modulation.
Whoa, so you could do expressive stuff just with your foot on the main switch.
Precisely. Real-time dynamic control without needing a separate expression pedal. It was genuinely innovative, let you do things like swells and oscillations much more easily. And the Flashback 2 also added a new delay mode, the crystal delay. That became super popular.
What did that sound like?
It's kind of a shimmer effect. Pitch-shifted repeats, adding this ethereal, sparkly, almost orchestral texture on top of the delay. Great for ambient stuff.
Okay, so MRH and Crystal were the big ads for version 2.
Yeah, plus overall better algorithms, they said, and more options in the tone print editor. It really pushed the idea of an interactive, expressive delay pedal.
And I assume they made a mini version of that too.
You bet. 2018, the Flashback 2 Mini arrived. All the goodies of the Flashback 2 MAH Crystal improved sounds crammed back into that tiny enclosure.
Quite an evolution.
Yeah.
So with all these different versions and features,
Mm-hmm.
who really grabbed onto these pedals? What kinds of musicians?
It really cut across the board, which speaks to its versatility. You had really high-level technical players get into it, guys like John Petrucci from Dream Theater. He was heavily involved, made his own tone prints, showed it could handle complex stuff.
Right, the prog rock legend.
And Steve Morse from Deep Purple also endorsed it, highlighted its flexibility for different sounds.
Okay, so the virtuosos liked it. Who else?
Well, as we touched on, the worship and ambient communities absolutely embraced it. The stereo capabilities, the clear delays, and especially that crystal shimmer on the Flashback too, perfect for creating those huge atmospheric soundscapes. You hear it all over that style of music.
Makes sense. The sound fits perfectly.
Definitely. And also indie and post-rock bands, they love the reverse mode for those weird textures and the modulated delays for building up those big, epic, evolving guitar parts. It gave them studio-like textural tools for live shows.
So it sounds like it really found a place almost everywhere. Thinking bigger picture now,
Yeah.
What's the lasting impact? Beyond specific artists, how did the Flashback series kind of change the game for guitar effects?
I think its biggest impact was making truly high-quality, versatile digital delay accessible. Before the Flashback, getting that level of clarity, those kinds of options, usually meant big, expensive rack units or maybe some boutique pedals that cost a lot more.
Right. It brought that pro sound down to a more reachable level.
Exactly. It democratized it in a way.
Right.
Suddenly, bedroom producers, gigging musicians could get these fantastic delay sounds without spending a fortune or needing a complex setup. That really expanded the sonic possibilities for a huge number of players. And tone print was massive. It showed that deep customization didn't have to mean complicated menus and endless tweaking on the pedal itself. That idea of beaming artist presets, that user-friendly approach, was influential.
Yeah, it set a new standard for interaction.
It did. And competitively, it really held its own against the big players like Boss with their DD series or Line 6 and the DL4. It offered a compelling package, sound quality, features like tone print, the compact size, often at a really good price point. And specifically, I think the Flashback 2 with MSH really pushed things forward. That idea of using the foot switch for expression that influenced other pedal designs showed there was more potential there than just on-off. It nudged the whole market towards more interactivity.
So it wasn't just popular, it actually spurred innovation elsewhere, too.
I think so, yeah. Ultimately, it just became one of the go-to digital delays of the 2010s because it hit that sweet spot. Affordable, sounded great, did a ton of stuff.
What a fantastic journey, really digging into just one pedal, but seeing its huge ripple effect. Yeah, we've traced the TC Electronic Flashback from its arrival in 2011, right through its evolution with the X4, the Mini, the game-changing Flashback 2 with MASH and Crystal. It really cemented its place by offering so much. Multiple great delay sounds, looping, that unique tone print system, and then adding real expressive control. It's just a great example of smart design meeting what musicians actually wanted.
It really is. And makes you think, doesn't it? How do these shifts in technology, like making complex effects easy to use and affordable in a small pedal, how does that fundamentally change how musicians create? Does it unlock totally new sounds, new ways of playing that maybe weren't practical before? It goes beyond just the features on the box. It's about what it enables creatively, how it expands, what musicians feel they can express.
That's a fantastic point. It's not just the tool, but the art it inspires. A really profound thought to end on. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the TC Electronic Flashback delay. We hope you enjoyed it. Maybe go listen to some tracks, see if you can spot that flashback sound. What kind of sounds might you create knowing how these tools evolved? Until next time, keep exploring.